guys, it is Tristan with Nerdette's Newsstand, and it is New Comic Book Day, and I only picked up a couple things. So I thought I would look at Red Hood, and this is actually from last Wednesday, but it's still really good. I like the direction they've been doing with Red Hood, and it's been consistently good, which I can only say about a few DC titles. So I love how the cover says, to get at the truth, they'll kill everyone on this cover. And I mean, like, they really kind of don't do that, but sure, why not? It's like the clickbait of covers. I love it too much. So we open up and we see Solitary, and he's looking at like his little picture board, and it's got the Dark Unity or Unity. Anyways, he's talking about his, he left his only begotten son in Gotham, and kind of showing us a little bit of crazy. And we see Jason throw his crowbar directly at him. Now, pay attention, because this drove me too crazy. The U shape on the crowbar is forward. Remember that for the next page. So he is talking about he missed him by a country mile. And he's like, well, you totally missed the reason why I threw it at you. And it hits in Bunker's pod, water cell thing. I don't know what you would call it. He calls it a cage, but it's definitely not a cage. And this is why I said pay attention. The U shape is backwards. Like, he should have thrown it the other way in order for it to hit that way. It would have literally just hit the glass and bounced off the way he threw it. So it makes no sense to me, but I think it was just like a mistake on Pete Wood's part. Like, I can't complain though, because his art is so good. But he says, he thinks that he's scared of the power that Bunker has, so he unleashed it anyway. And we get to see Jason beat the ever-living hell out of Solitary. And it doesn't last, because we realize that he has the power of perception. So he basically can do with, what he wants. He says his word is law. And he starts running away, because here comes Bunker. And he busts out of his water cell, and he, I really like this picture. I think this art looks so good. And I like how in the next page here, we get to see him kind of explain, how they know each other from the Teen Titans. They talk about death of the family. And they talk about, Red Robin, and they go through it. And I think this was a really good section to add, because I did know a little bit about how they knew each other. I did know a little bit about Teen Titans, but I'm not somebody that picks up Teen Titans every single time. Like, really not even half the time anymore. So I like that they added that in there. And Jason takes off. And he's running with his pup. Still got his puppy. I love it too much. And Wingman just, baffles him and jumps on top of him. And he's like, not now, This is not the time to start with me. And he says, he still wants him to go back to Gotham. But they fight a little more, and he basically says, my friend is about to make this whole building implode. You better, get out. So they get out, and they're still kind of fighting. But what was weird to me was Wingman, is talking to him, and he seems to be more of a friend than foe at this point. And he says, why couldn't you have just been honest with him? And it was obviously a dig at something else, and I don't know where they're going from there, but, we'll see. So they're in this cell, or the dog takes off, and he follows them, and they go in this cell, and Solitary is sitting there, and he's just kind of sitting there, like, all depressed, and he's like, what the hell, he calls him Jason. He says, why'd you just call me by my name? So he's got the power of perception and starts messing with his head a little bit. And he's reminding him, of a prisoner who served a life sentence for a crime that he didn't commit, even if he was, not the best person. The crime did not fit the person at that point. And he was used in an experiment with two other guys. And basically they tried to mold their minds together. And it didn't work out, to what they thought how it would work, rather. And basically he was left in the desert to die, but it worked in reverse, because they were able to work together and actually become one person. And he realizes at this point, he stands up and he says, I'm your father. which I totally didn't realize people didn't know that last time. When I said solitary at the end of my last review, I was like, oh yeah, that's Jason's dad. Yeah, I didn't realize that was going to be a plot point and like a spoiler, so my bad. But I kind of figured that was known, but I guess not. So he's like, no, you're not. Like, Jason, I know he's your dad. How do you not know? But he rips off, like, he's supposed to have this Batman scar or, you know, symbol on his arm. And he rips off the shirt to, or the sleeve to his shirt. And it's not there. So he doesn't believe it's his dad. But then again, we look back and we see that if he was 3 different people molded into one, like, who knows what would have happened in that process, and if, you know, that scar would have still stayed, or if it was a different person's arm, or if it was, you know, I think his name's Willis. Yeah, Willis Todd. If it was his arm or not. So, yeah, I don't know. He throws the crowbar the correct way, and it lands right in the middle of his chest, and he takes off. And he basically says, you know, you hurt a lot of people. Goodbye. And then we go back, and it settles outside of Seattle. And I was so happy to see this because I complained so much a couple issues back about how they didn't do Roy any justice. And they finally did. And he's talking, and he takes, you know, Roy's hat, and he puts it on top of his grave. And he said, I never told you why you were alive, but I always hated that hat. And I like that. But I'm so glad they put this in here because they said it too many times that I thought that their bromance that they have for that little, oh, bye, Roy thing was way too little of a moment. So I like that they're putting something in here. And he heads over to a tree, and we see that Miguel is there, Bunker. And obviously this guy, and this is, I spent way too much time on this before I did this video, but the other guy has to be Wingman. He is. I mean, he says so. So who, like, I'm sitting here trying to figure out who he is. I have no idea. They don't give him a name. They don't nothing. He calls him boss, but nothing. They like, who is this? I'm so confused, and it's driving me insane. But the last shot here is Jason and Miguel and Wingman, whoever he is, walking away, and they are going to Gotham. And he says he's got a few things he needs to do first. And we see that, like, awesome behind him with Red Hood and everything else. I like how behind him they put the Red Hood mask as he's going back to Gotham, and not the, like, new Ermac mask that they've been using. So I don't know if they're going to change back or what. But I like that little thing in there because I do like the new costume. I really do. It's grown on me. But it would be nice to see classic Red Hood look. But this was good. There was a couple little plot points that made no sense to me. Like how it was unknown that Solitary was his father from the beginning. Like that still confuses me. And I like how they explained with Miguel his background with Jason and with Red Robin. I want to know who Wingman is. It is driving me insane. I am one of those people that wants to know everything about it, and I don't, and it's driving me crazy. I've Googled like 10 different things trying to figure it out, and it's not working. It's driving me nuts. But that's okay. I will deal with it. I'll figure it out one of these days. But I really did like this. I think it was a really good ending to seeing Roy gone. I think it was nice to see that little extra added bonus here with him saying goodbye to Roy. I do. Though I think Roy will be back, but we'll see. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.